From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the field and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, and stories that keep our communities alive.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Sarina, we have a great guest here today.
And honestly, such a source of pride, right? It is the Tampa Bay community's oldest nonprofit.
130 some odd years.
Yes. We're highlighting
Taylor Cheeseman, Executive Vice President of the Children's Home. Thanks for being here. Or is it the Children's Network?
It's the Children's Home Network.
The Children's Home Network. There we go.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. So, oldest nonprofit in the Tampa Bay area. Tell us about its history and then, of course, what you guys are doing today.
I'd love to. So the Children's Home, as it was originally named, was founded in 1892. And it's a really beautiful story about how it came to exist. So if you know anything about the Tampa Bay area and its history, there wasn't much happening here in 1892. I think there were about 15,000 residents of the entire region at that time. So it's really, really hard to imagine today. But at that time, there were people moving here from across the eastern seaboard, right? And Carrie Hammerly was one of those people. She came down from the mid-Atlantic region and resettled in Tampa. And while she was here, she saw that there were orphan children who went without services. And so we started with her bringing those children into her own home.
Wow.
It wasn't some kind of planned out program. It wasn't something that was initiated as part of a government program. It was just a concerned member of our community who saw unmet needs for children. And she decided it was her obligation and her mission to provide them care. And so we've been providing care to children in Tampa Bay and now families in Tampa Bay continuously since 1892.
Wow.
We actually still do residential work for children in the foster care system. So that original mission has continued for all of that time. But we've really, over the years and over the decades, diversified into broad-based child and family services. And that's where the Children's Home Network name came from, is as we realized that there were more needs that needed to be met, that there were real opportunities to invest in family strength and family stability, and that was ultimately the best way to ensure that children grow up healthy and strong and supported. And so our mission has been to meet this community's needs when others do not.
Children, of course, are the foundation of our future. And so Taylor, talk to us about when this initiative, this mission first started. How much, the first handful of kids, how big is it now?
Yeah. Oh, it's extraordinary. So it started as one home. We now serve several thousand children and families a year.
Wow.
We have a number of programs. So our reach geographically is all of the Tampa Bay area. We have programs in Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County. We have programs in the Heartland region through Polk, Hardy, and Highlands County, and even a footprint down in Miami. So the kind of critical mass of our work is still here in Tampa, but we do have some reach across the state. And as we really think about what needs are the most critical, what we've really focused on is trying to integrate a clinical approach. So think children's behavioral health services, counseling, psychiatry, along with kind of comprehensive family service navigation. So how do you come into a family's home and be a support to them, help them access the resources that they don't have at the moment? How can you put them in a position of strength and success with some parent coaching or respite care? And so as we think through those different interventions, what we've started to do is really specialize in the types of child needs that we focus on. So one of our growing areas right now is trying to serve parents and children who have some kind of intellectual or developmental need. And so children with an autism diagnosis are one of our kind of priority populations we're serving. We serve kinship caregivers, so people who informally took in a grandchild, a niece, or a nephew and lack formal support systems. We have programs that are focused on early childhood education. So we're really trying to meet a broad base of needs with those community-based programs while continuing to do substantial work in the foster care space, because that need is always going to be there even with those great interventions up front.
Now, you guys have some facilities that children can come into, and they're on campus, and they stay there for a period of weeks or months. Tell us a little bit about those facilities and what they entail.
So we have 2 residential program locations. Our main campus is here in the Tampa Bay area. It's interesting. So we've been at a couple sites throughout our history, but we've occupied this campus since the 60s, believe it or not.
Wow.
That campus is licensed to serve up to 54 children at a time. The children who come there are in one of 2 programs. One's more focused on mental health needs, so psychiatry, trauma-focused therapy. The other is the developmental population I mentioned, and we have some behavior intervention services to help children meet developmental landmarks. But when they come, it's providing a number of interventions in a single holistic environment. So obviously there's their basic care. It becomes home to them for a period of time. Generally speaking, the goal is to stabilize the child enough that they can move into a family-like environment. It's obviously preferable that a child is with a family, whether that's a foster family, a prospective adoptive family, or their biological family. But that duration with us can be a year. It can sometimes exceed a year, depending on the particular child and how long it takes to achieve progress. In addition to that basic caregiving and those clinical interventions, we also have a number of recreational opportunities. We have a full high school basketball sized gym.
That's wonderful.
On campus. We have a learning center where we can do after school support intervention in the summer. We have a donation center, which is such a misnomer because you can't believe it unless you actually get to step foot in it and see it. Because one thing we realize about children in the foster care system is they have very little control over their own life. They are surrounded by forces that, whether it's the courts or foster parents or service providers, who are dictating what happens. And one thing they need is agency. They need some semblance of responsibility and control. And so what we did is, every program like ours is going to bring in donations of everything from clothes to personal items, toys, books, but we wanted to give kids some choice in that. And so we built our donation center out into almost a boutique store style setup so that the kids can come and essentially shop for what they want.
We're
They're not
showing
purchasing,
pictures.
but they like it.
It's amazing.
It's extraordinary. And it really is a change. And you think about something as simple as, you've got teenagers who are in foster care, they're in high school, and being able to come in and pick out a nice homecoming dress or prom dress, right? That's a big thing in a child's life.
I think Sarina saw a couple in those pictures we should throw up if she wanted.
It's wonderful stuff that we have in there. We are, very generously supported by our donors, and that's one of the ways that they help.
We talked about how you are the oldest nonprofit, right, in this area. Clearly, you are doing many, many things right. And you shared so much of that, but if you were giving advice to other people launching what you guys are launching, and just speaking from the heart, why do you feel you're so successful?
It's the commitment to the mission. It is, and in particular, I think it's a twofold mission, right? So our mission is to unlock the potential of at-risk children and families. That is the core of what we do. But there's a culture that I think it goes back to Carrie Hammerly and that first decision to take in children, which is that we have an obligation. We have a moral obligation to look at the unmet needs of the people in our community and step in when others don't, to support them. And I think that kind of adaptive mindset of being willing to continuously look for new opportunities to help people is a part of what's led to our growth and our innovation over time.
Taylor, I have a question for you. Is there an underlying, or let's say a common denominator among the children and families that you guys end up serving that we as a society should address, like what that underlying common denominator is to help avoid the necessity of the Children's Network?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say there's several. So just because of some of the different service populations or kind of focus areas that we work in. So one thing that I think comes as a surprise to a lot of people when you talk about children in the foster care system is how children come to be in the foster care system. And we all, I think, have kind of the natural image of horrific instances of physical abuse or sexual abuse that put children in foster care. And that does happen, and that is some portion of the foster care population. But a far larger share of the children in foster care come there because of physical neglect. And physical neglect can be any kind of failure to provide care by a parent, and it does not have to be an intentional or malicious act on the part of a parent. So there's a strong correlation between poverty and children ending up in foster care. There is a strong correlation between substance use issues, untreated mental health conditions on the part of parents and children coming into foster care. There's a strong correlation between breakdowns in family structure and children coming into foster care. And so it's those kind of stress factors in a family, right, that really put pressure on parents or leave parents in a position where they need help if they are going to be equipped to care for their children. That are really where the opportunity is to prevent kids from coming into foster care. On the community-based side, I think where there are some broader opportunities than that are in serving caregivers with some of our, who are parents to some children with special needs. And so, for instance, one of our newer programs is a good example of this. We recognize that if you're a parent who has a child with a medical condition, a child with a intellectual or developmental disability, that puts a huge strain on the parent, on best of parents, right? On parents who have a lot of support and resources. This is an incredibly challenging role. It's a big burden. And so we developed a respite program where we can come in and provide care to that child temporarily while the parent can take care of some groceries or take care of some like household needs that they haven't been able to address, or just take some time to kind of rest or recuperate invest in their own well-being. And so finding ways to provide that support to our neighbors, to provide that support to the people in our circles, I think is one of the ways that people in the community can respond.
So if someone wanted to help out, volunteer, make a contribution, donate goods or services, how do they do that?
There's a number of ways. So we do have contracts for our services with state and local government entities, but they do not cover the full cost of what we do. We are dependent on donations and philanthropic support from the community to be able to continue our mission, and particularly to offer the level of service that we do. It's we often say that a lot of the public funding streams will cover some base costs, but if you want to do high quality work, you have to be willing to bring more to the table. So obviously monetary donations are an important thing. We have a couple of events coming up. On April 18th, we have a clay shooting tournament, the Real Animals Sporting Classic with Captain Mike Anderson is a partnership that's coming up, and we can definitely have people sign up to have a good time out on a clay shoot and also support a great mission.
Sarina will come as long as everybody knows how to duck.
There we go.
He's right.
And then coming shortly after that on May 1st, we have a fishing tournament that's coming up. It's probably the best event of the year, I always say. I think it's a real highlight for us.
When is that?
That's May 1st, and coming up starts 7:30 in the morning out on the boats. You get out there early, come back, have a nice time with a auction and food. It's just a great day.
Is it offshore, inshore?
It's inshore, kind of all around the bay. It's the captains disperse. I love the scene of the boats taking off at the beginning of the tournament, just because you see them spread out across the bay.
Go to their spot.
Exactly. Everybody's got their secret one, you know. So obviously the events are a way to support. Another way to support is we, as part of our foster care related work, we license foster homes. So we have about 130 foster homes for whom we do the licensing work. So that's the coming in, making sure they meet all of the state's requirements, doing the background checks, and then providing the training and support to those parents. And so we are always in the process of recruiting people to become foster parents. And so we're, you know, if somebody's ever had that calling or kind of had an interest in learning more about it, we do weekly interest sessions, no commitment, just a chance to learn more.
So I got a question for you about that, because we only hear about foster families, like the caregivers who are the foster parents, when something goes wrong. And it's, usually this horrific story about, the dilapidated situation in that house, and they've got 10 kids, and it seems like they're kind of just using the system to have the money coming in. I mean, how legitimate is that kind of thing? What's the typical foster family look like?
The typical foster family are people who have a passionate heart for helping
Yes.
children. And one of the things that is a kind of a necessary challenge or a necessary evil of our work, if you will, is that the foster care system obviously is subject to a lot of confidentiality for
many
understandable
reasons.
and
Yes.
appropriate
Yes, for
reasons,
sure.
right? What that means is that the worst stories make the news and get heard, and the extraordinarily good work that happens every day
Can't
is
be told.
never told.
They can't
I know.
be told.
Isn't
right?
that
And
sad?
it
Honestly.
happens behind the shadows. And you have people, I know we've had families who are licensed foster parents for years. And it truly is missional for them. It is something that they see as a service that they can offer. And the other thing I think that may not be known about foster care and the family foster care experience is we license all levels of foster care. So we think of the typical foster parent as somebody who just provides a home and care and transportation, stands in the shoes of a parent temporarily. But there are other higher levels of foster care that we support. So we have homes that are medical foster care. So they are taking in children who are medically fragile. Could be like they have a feeding tube, or they're have significant care needs related to a diabetes, or they're on dialysis. And so we have specialized homes for medical care. We have what are called specialized therapeutic foster homes. And so these are foster parents, still lay people, not clinicians, but who receive advanced training in supporting children with trauma-related mental health needs. And so they have the support of a therapist that we send, who is in the home multiple times a week with the foster parents, helping provide care. And then we have a third category of foster parent we license, and this is a part of a newer specialized program we have that's serving children in foster care who are victims of human trafficking.
Oh,
and
my
so
goodness.
there's a whole wraparound team in that circumstance that comes into the home, someone who is a survivor of trafficking herself, who comes in as a mentor to these young girls, the therapist who comes in to really help them process the trauma of that experience. And then what's called a targeted case manager, which is somebody who comes in and helps organize all of the collateral supports in that child's life, whether that's educational or clinical or otherwise. And so they're really the foster care world and the role of foster parents is far more diverse than I think the stereotypes would tell you. And there's some really robust supports for these parents who take on serving children with exceptional need.
It's incredible.
Yes.
I think, we've already touched on the fact that we can't tell these stories, the good ones, but do you think, I'm sure you have to see in what you do as a profession, serving the community in this capacity, that don't you think most people have no idea what goes on in an organization like yours with these children and the families and the things they go through?
They have no clue. And it's the stories are really extraordinary. We have another program that I'm really proud of. I think it's an exciting model. It's focused in early childhood education. And you'd think early childhood education is something that gets a lot of attention. I would be willing to guess that most people would never wager that a program like this exists. So what they do is they go into homes where a child is a struggling learner, particularly targeting those kids in pre-K and the early elementary grades, kind of the K-3 being the target. And the reason for that, targeting that age band, is we understand that particularly reading performance by third grade is a major predictor of long-term success in a child's life.
Isn't that something?
It's extraordinary. And so what they do is they come in and they help that parent, one, gain access to assessment they need to better understand why their child is struggling. Oftentimes what we find is that may lead to a diagnosis of a learning disability that to that point had been unidentified. And then they work with the parent to engage with the school and organize and identify the interventions and supports that'll help that child catch up and reach grade level progress. And there's one example that comes to mind where, just to give you an idea of the profound impact of a child who we were engaged with around January. so mid-school year. The engagement with the family leads to a discovery that this child was dyslexic, which at this point, they were in 3rd grade at the time, had gone unknown to that point. They were a struggling learner consistently. Nobody knew why. And by the time that child ended 3rd grade, so basically a semester-long intervention, they had made up 2.5 grade levels of progress.
That is incredible.
It's extraordinary, and I think that's the kind of positive story that goes unnoticed and untold.
Yeah.
And clearly, you're so passionate about it. Here you are, a lawyer, correct? And then you came back, work in this organization, a parent yourself, 2 beautiful children. This is clearly also a passion of yours.
Absolutely, it's a mission. And I think that's something it's interesting. The organizations like ours, some are faith-based organizations. We are not formally a faith-based organization. We're not affiliated with any religious denomination. But I think one thing that is kind of uniform among the people who do this work is that for them personally, it's a mission. And that's definitely what draws me to it, is that I think we do have an obligation to be of help to those in need, to respond, to find ways to make our community a stronger place by investing in our children.
And you're doing it in your own community because you are a St. Pete native, is that right?
Pinellas County native. So actually the other end of the county. No, absolutely. So I had some time away. But I've got 7 generations of history in Palm Harbor.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
It is. It's
beautiful up there.
It is. It's a good place. And we were fortunate enough after a time away to come home and be close to family and to be able to invest in the place that made me.
That's great. Well, so tell us, if somebody wants to volunteer, donate, get tickets to the sporting clays or the fishing event, be a sponsor, what have you, where do they go?
Easy. Children'sHomeNetwork.org. That website can provide you access to everything.
And is that also where someone who might need help, is that also where they go?
Absolutely. So one thing on our website, we have detailed information about all of the different programs that we operate, and we have phone numbers for the points of contact in each one of those programs.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Well, Taylor Cheeseman with the Children's Home Network. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Every story shared
Adds another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
from courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our neighborhood strong.
Thanks for watching The Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.